Is Charles poised to step into a potential controversy surrounding the monarchy during his upcoming visit to Australia? Palace officials are currently devising a strategy for King Charles's planned trip to Sydney next year, which could prove to be a pivotal moment in his reign, given the escalating calls for Australia to transition into a republic. The Mail on Sunday has uncovered that royal aides are gearing up for a visit to Sydney, strategically timed to coincide with Charles's inaugural attendance as the head of the Commonwealth at its summit meeting in Samoa. A senior Australian government minister recently remarked that this visit would inevitably spark a renewed conversation about Australia establishing its own head of state. Scheduled to attend the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, COGM, in October next year, it is anticipated that Charles will extend his tour to include visits to Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji. Matt Thistlethwaite, the Assistant Minister for the Republic, a role established in the Australian Labor Party last year, expressed, "The King will always be welcome in Australia and greeted fondly by the Australian people." But in modern-day Australia, his visit will trigger a renewed conversation about having our own head of state who lives with us, represents us, and is an Australian. Charles has faced criticism for not making an official visit to any Commonwealth country, despite having been on the throne for more than a year. Isaac Jeffrey, the leader of the protest group Australian Republic Movement, commented, "By the time Charles visits, he'll have been King of Australia for more than 2 years. He's hardly been in a rush to visit us, and that's fine. We don't need him." A recent survey revealed that 78% of 1,500 Australians believe the royal family should cover the costs of a state visit. In 2011, it cost Australian taxpayers $2.6 million, £1.9 million today, to host the Queen and Prince Philip. Royal aides will closely monitor Saturday's referendum, in which Australians will vote on whether to allow an Indigenous voice in Parliament. If successful, the Labour government, under Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, has promised to hold a vote to gauge the public's interest in becoming a republic, if re-elected in 2025. According to a recent YouGov poll of 1,200 Australians, 32% want a republic as soon as possible, marking a 12 percentage point increase from a similar survey conducted last year. Charles is reportedly disquieted by the delay in receiving an official invitation from the Australian Prime Minister. Should he travel to Australia, his 17th visit to the country, anti-monarchists are expected to seize the opportunity to push for his removal as king. Sources suggest that opponents will target official engagements to advocate for the appointment of an Australian as the country's first president. Sources also indicate that there have been discussions on both sides, and that Charles has expressed a keen interest in meeting as many Australians as possible when the opportunity arises. Shadow Defence Minister Andrew Hastie, in contrast, stated, "The King will be very welcome on his first visit. There is a renewed enthusiasm for the Crown Down Under and a sense that we share in something special and historic." However, Prime Minister Albanese seems in no hurry to send a formal invitation. One source disclosed, "It is fair to say there has been some disquiet about it. As per protocol, the King cannot act upon anything until he receives an official invite." The palace has chosen not to disclose the details of talks between the King and Mr. Albanese regarding a state visit. In May, it was reported that Charles was planning to visit his first Commonwealth country, Kenya, by the end of the month, with official confirmation expected from the palace in the near future. Dear friend, if you like everything new about the royal family and don't want to miss all the novelties, subscribe to our channel and like it. By doing so, you take part in our development. We work for you.